Hey everybody, so the world is burning, America is burning, the UK, all that. I'm talking about the riots and protesting that happened today, that happened on May 31st, yesterday. It was a 3-day, 72-hour event of peaceful protesting. Okay, respectable, right? Respectable. Until the last final hour where suddenly, you see a lot of these extremists from the outside, mainly white supremacists. Sorry, I just coughed at some. Sorry, white supremacists. Excuse me. But yeah, and they hijacked the message of George Floyd's death. This isn't about one man anymore. I'm a white man and I stand with my BLM allies, even though they don't necessarily want me to. This is my take. What I'm about to show you next is Mayor Woodfin's initial video from that night. Here we go.
This past Tuesday, like you, not as a mayor, not as a son, not as a leader, not as a citizen, but as a black man, I saw another black man's life taken, snatched from him by an officer putting his knee on his neck for well over 7 minutes. It bothered me. It made me angry. It hurt. And it was the heaviest I felt in being a black man in a very long time. Many of you all have a right to be very angry right now. You have a right to be sad. You have a right to demand that policing is better. Not just in Minneapolis, but in Birmingham and the nation, across the world. Let me tell you what you don't have the right to do. You don't have the right to walk around and busting windows, setting things on fire, damaging people's property, looting, taking things that don't belong to you. That makes you a hijacker of a peaceful rally. That makes you a hijacker of peaceful protesters. And those type of people aren't welcome in the city of Birmingham. I'm appalled by what I've seen tonight. I'm very angry because the city of Birmingham, the community, the residents, the small business owners, the corporate community, and everything else that's been damaged, that's been inflicted, the county courthouse. None of our community deserves this because the city of Birmingham, as an administration and as a community, has stood in lockstep with you as protesters. We support peaceful protesting. We do not support what is happening here. It's unacceptable. Stop destroying your own community. Stop destroying our community. We deserve better. And if you want policing reform, this is not the way to do it. Be better.
Now that's pretty compelling stuff, right? Yeah, really compelling stuff. But the thing is that white people are sharing this saying, see, even a black mayor is saying to stop looting and everything. Do you have any idea how hard it is as a black man who's a mayor of a major Alabama city to navigate this situation? That was his first statement. What I'm about to show you next is his following statement the next day.
All right, everybody, listen, in order for you to hear me, I'm going to take this off. The beauty is I'm out here by myself, so I need to make sure you can hear me. Listen, I'm going to start it off this way because I think it's important. I'm actually tired of us misquoting some of our civil rights leaders. For example, Dr. King. For the last week, he's just been totally misquoted. And notice I'm talking about Dr. King, but I'm not only standing in front of the Civil Rights Institute and across the street from this 16th Street Baptist Church, but I'm also starting and having this conversation with you in front of the Fred Shuttlesworth Monument, who is my personal hero, and I'll get back to him in a minute. But Dr. King, when you think about protests, I think when you think about organizing, I think it's important to actually understand the rules. An organized protest, for Dr. King, is 4 important points. 1 is identifying the injustice. 2 is negotiation. 3 is self-purification, and 4 is direct action. And I think if you're going to join a movement, you have to understand organizing, but you also have to understand strategy, and you also have to understand the rules. And we do a good job of identifying the injustice, but we rarely do the second and third step, which is negotiation, which is extremely important because you have to engage people who are responsible for policy, i.e. Elected officials. But you also have to understand self-purification, which is a fancy way of saying what's your personal discipline. Personal discipline in a movement and in protesting is the opposite of destruction just because, looting just because, vandalism just because, burning just because. And then if negotiations don't work, if the discipline is not getting the attention you need, you then move to direct action. Many of us want to skip. We want to identify the injustice and jump to direct action. But if you don't negotiate or have the self-discipline to maintain yourself, then you're in a position not to get the results you want.
He's right though.
For justice. So, I say that because we're walking through Kelly Ingram Park right now, and there have been so many rallies in this park lately. And I think they haven't only been peaceful, but people understand the importance of why we're here and the history and significance of what this park can do. Now we're in a position where we've had total civil unrest in our city, and we must respond to that. And so what I want to do is appeal directly to you, the citizen, the resident, the possible activist, the possible organizer. Know your rules. Watch your step. I'm telling my man with the camera to watch your step. But you should watch your step too, by the way. I think that fits here. We have to be diligent in our ability to identify the injustice. In this case, the killing of George Floyd. We have to understand what we're negotiating for on behalf of justice, not only to his family and to his legacy and his life, but negotiating on behalf of police reform. We then should have the discipline to have the self-purification to remain steady as it relates to doing what we can do to draw attention to our cause, to not get out of line, to make sure we don't get distracted from our cause. And then there's direct action. Direct action can give you the results you need too, if you yield to the self-purification as well as the negotiation. And these are the 4 things needed as it relates to a successful protest and organizing. Thank you.
So like, here's the thing, is that I'm a white male. I don't have any idea what it's like to grow up as a black male in America or a black male in any country. I know that they face constant scrutiny, but this is not about the destruction of property. This isn't even about George Floyd anymore. What this is about is that it is a race issue. As much as you hear from the right that it's not a race issue, the sad fact of the matter is that they are grouping protesters in with the looters and rioters. But you know what? At the end of the day, it is one and the same. According to our president, who just happened to call the protesters
bugs.
What I'm trying to get at is that this is a systematic problem addressing certain injustices, systematic oppression, systematic racism. You can throw a dart at a dartboard and you will land on any of these subjects and they will all be valid. Fact is that I'm not black. It doesn't affect me. Now, me being a addict in recovery who is on probation, I can't go to these protests. I'd love to. But if I were put in these zip ties and arrested, I wouldn't spend a night, 2 nights, 3 nights, a week in jail. I would go to prison to back up my original non-violent drug offense from 2017. I would have to spend 4 years and 11 months in prison. That being said, I'm not going to join my allies, my other white folks, brown folks, yellow folks, blue folks, whatever. I can't join them because the consequences for me are so much greater than the consequences for a couple of weeks, a month, maybe a week, maybe a month in jail. It just doesn't make sense, and I really wish I could show my support through solidarity. But that being said, I think that Mayor Woodfin is coming from a place in the first video where he's trying to do damage control. But in the second video, you can kind of see how he has abandoned that notion. How he is finally starting to grow woke, as the kids say, that this isn't a solution. This is not an easy solution. While it is a black and white issue, it is not as simple as a black and white solution. There's a lot of gray area. There's a lot of complexities, extenuating circumstances, along with so many other variables that I just simply can't understand because I'm not black. I'm not going to sit here and, wag my finger at people who, throw Molotovs into businesses. Even the privately owned businesses owned by minorities, they say, yeah, the things can be replaced, but George Floyd's life can't. And if that's not an act of solidarity, then I don't know what is. So that's my 2 cents as a 30-year-old, middle-aged, white, cis male, gender, whatever, privileged white ass. And if you care, leave a comment, subscribe, whatever. I would love to hear what you guys think. And if you think I'm a cuck or a simp or a black person sympathizer, please leave it in the comment. I would love to start a discussion. Share this around. Share this on Reddit. Share this on r/Alabama. Share this on r/Birmingham. I can't. I kind of got banned. If you guys made it to the end, if you'll just write right there in the comments, I'll know you made it this far. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry this video is kind of being all over the place. I'm just kind of at a loss of what to think. So I'm going to edit this and publish it first thing in the morning. Thank you guys. Be safe. Good night. See you next time.